Hello, and welcome to The Listening Room, a spirituality podcast brought to you by SpiritSourceConnect.com. My name is Suzanne Goulet, and in each episode, I'll be speaking to you about new spirituality and how you can use it to improve your daily life. By offering you insights, tools, and techniques, you'll become more aware of your connection to a higher power and begin to accelerate your path to a life of greater joy, ease, and flow. Enjoy! My topic for today is going to be continuing on the subject of change from the inside out, identifying our desires. So if you are listening to this broadcast as a replay, feel free to pause and go back to last week and listen to that broadcast. And I'm going to review a little bit of what was discussed there before we move on, so there's a little bit better continuity for you. I mentioned one of the sources of my strongest teaching, which is the Course in Miracles. And the Course teaches us that everything that is going on in the exterior of our lives is really an illusion that is there as a mirror, reflecting back to us what is going on in our interior. And that the solutions to what we're looking to change in our lives does not lie in trying to change the exterior of things. I'm not going to delve too much into this subject. I'm just reviewing last week's broadcast. The solutions that the Course outlines for us is really to get quiet and go within and get to a place of peace about any solution that is really in the forefront of our lives and in the forefront of our minds right now. It is not a matter of going out and hammering away and trying to fix something that is upsetting you at the moment. The solution really is to go within and become in peace. This is not as easy as it sounds, and it requires some practice. And the point is that instead of trying to come up with some New Year's resolutions, why don't we decide that we're going to step up our spiritual practice and get into a place where we can continue to have a relationship with higher source. Have it be a friend. Have it move into the house and be part of the family. So let's move on to the subject of today's course. We're going to be focusing on what some desires might be, but before we do that, we really need to be looking at where we are now. The reason for that is because we want to get out of any kind of denial about our current situation, that we take a really good hard look of where we are, and it doesn't matter what our opinion is of this. What matters is that we become completely aware. We're going to be walking through various aspects of your life: health, relationships, your right livelihood, and your prosperity. And we're going to go through each of these areas and ask ourselves a lot of questions. We're not going to be setting goals. We're just going to be kind of surrendering the whole situation, which is the key to change, really, is that surrender. It is when we can surrender, then get into a place of peace, that the solutions can be delivered to us from a much higher place. And the solutions will come, and they will be very clear and very strong, and they're going to have a lot of love behind them. At this point is where we want to listen and then act on these inspirations as they come to us. They may come to us immediately, or they may come to us over the course of several days. And these solutions come very, very clearly in a very pronounced way, and they're often nothing that you could have thought of yourself. They could be very much outside of your realm of what you thought was going to work. And when you have these promptings, it's very important to listen to them and act on them. Very often, Spirit is providing solutions for us, and although we hear them, we choose not to act. And this is not a light thing. This is resistance, and it's very, very real. we are feeling a lot of argument, perhaps. The ego gets involved and says, that solution is not really what I have in mind, so I'm not going to do that. When the solution that Spirit is providing for you is the one that's going to be offering you the quickest, most efficient, and most loving resolution to a situation that you could not have dreamed of yourself. So when you are having resistance to acting on some inspiration, how does that resistance present itself to you? Are you procrastinating? That's a really popular one. Are you finding other things to do instead of acting on your inspiration? That's one of my favorites. I will find a million other things to do except for the one thing that I'm being called to do. And I recognize this now. Even though I recognize and I know it's there, I can deal with it a lot better and make appointments with myself to make sure that I sit down or, act in the way that my inspiration is telling me is the next step along my path. We're not talking about goals in your next steps. I'm talking about an inspiration from Spirit that you're being called to act upon. It often involves following your heart. It also involves following a stream and a thread of joy. This is one thing that Spirit often tells me is the path to a higher place is often following the stream of joy. This stream of joy may be calling you to act or to do something that may not be culturally popular or may not be traditionally the way things are being done, but there's nothing wrong with that, and let go of judgment. Globally, and as humanity, we are going through very large steps in evolution. And in order to get to a very peaceful place and a harmonious place in the world, each of us is going to be needing to take some steps of change that are going to be a clear break from the past and the way things have been done before. So even though it might not seem like the conventional thing to do, listen very carefully to your inner promptings, and then and only then should you act. Remember that Spirit has the solution for you. The solution is already in place, whether it be about your relationships, whether it be about your health, whether it be about your finances, or your right livelihood. Spirit's solution for you is already in place. It's only your job to take the steps that you are being called to take through your inner promptings, not through a to-do list that you've set out for yourself. It's through your inner energy and your inner joy. This is Suzanne, and I want to thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this program and would like to receive a free gift, please visit spiritsourceconnect.com. Thank you.